Show. Check it out. It's time for candid conversation. Conversation with Lady T and JT. It's time for candid conversation. Conversation with Lady T and JT. Check out the show. Check it out.
Well, good evening and welcome to Candid Conversations here on Oak 93.5 on your FM dial. I am your host, Lady T, and I have with me none other than our girl.
It's your girl, JT. And you know what? I am so excited for today because it's not just Lady T and I. We've got our brother from another mother.
Come on. And he is a fan favorite.
And he is. Listen, I said brother from another mother because we just celebrated Father's Day.
That's right. That's right. And he is that. And we welcome you.
That could go so many ways.
What'd you say?
I said that could go so many ways. And I don't want to say my papa was a Rolling Stone. Let me stop.
We were talking about the Heavenly Father, not the earthly Father.
Okay, let me get my
spirit. I'm trying now.
I told you we don't get on here trying to pray now. I told them y'all we need to have a prayer before these cameras came on. Now he's gonna clap his hands together. We got people. Hey y'all, welcome. We got people with us now, Pastor. Welcome, Pastor Said. Back to Candid Conversations. We are so excited to have you back. As we mentioned, you are a fan favorite. Every time you come, you leave us with jewels. And I tell you, everybody, you're quite comical. If I haven't ever told you that, my neighbor, my friend of lifetime, you're quite comical. But we welcome you, and we want to ask also, I don't think you got, last time we did a lot of talking, but I don't think you told us your church you're affiliated with, what you actually do. I know we can't handle it from, maybe the professional side, but tell us, why do they call you Pastor Said?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm at Kingdom Excel Discipleship Ministries. My pastor is District Superintendent Pastor M. Lamont Cooper. That's how we say his name. I'm so grateful, and I've been with him like 20-some years. So pretty much I'm his first assistant. I do what he tells me to do. We do a lot of training, second chair training. We do teaching people how to support vision, how to support pastors, and we train the elders and preachers and do a lot of the executive duties. Even with the counseling at the church, when people don't want to go to outside counselors, he sent them to me or other counselors at the church. So we pretty much we 10 toes down, and we've been like that for years. So that's what we do.
That's awesome and amazing and very necessary as far as that counseling piece is concerned. And also following the leadership of your leader. You have a good leader, Yes,
oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, as we mentioned, we welcome you back. So this time we have decided, you all, since we just celebrated Father's Day, we just happen to be talking about men. So we just wanted to kind of talk about fathers, Pastor Cedric. And by the way, happy Father's Day to you, sir. Belated.
Thank you. I'm proud to be a dad.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful, as you should be, because that's the best thing we could do for you all. I'll give you children, especially those boys. But anywho, I'm going to digress. Am I right, JT?
Yes. I mean, that's a good thing, but mine wanted some steak and some salmon. So when I got out of church, I had to cook.
Well, hello. That's a beautiful thing. But I'm trying to figure out why I ain't get a phone call. I know I ain't no dad, but you could have slid a sister a piece of salmon to the side.
Girl, I still got you if you want some, but we're gonna take that off. We're gonna take that offline. But Pastor said, you said earlier that you were proud to be a dad, and one of the things that we're seeing, in society today is that fatherhood is under attack. It seems as if, and that is definitely a blanketed statement, but it just seems like people are minimizing the roles of and the roles and the importance of having a dad, you know, as a proud father. You know, how do you feel about that?
To be honest, one of the things I was going to share with you guys from some stats from the American First Policy Institute, it says that, and this was as of June 24, 2024, so it's less than pretty much a year of current research, if that should say that. It says the United States has the highest rate of children in single-parent households of any nation in the world. This great country has the highest rate of children in single-parent households in any nation in the world. It says that there are over 18 million fatherless children in the United States. Fathers are absent from approximately 80% of single-parent homes. And then he says fatherless families are 4 times more likely to live in poverty than that for married couples' families. So it is important for me to have been in my son's life. Now, I want to preface it with this. I had both my sons prior to my marriage. So I have to put that out there. But I was in their life. I fought for them. Their mothers are great people. But now my oldest son, he lived with us for probably about 8 years until he became a teenager, and he was like, how they say 2 men in the same house sometimes is a little tension. Yes. And so we could joke about it, but I just told him one day, I said, man, listen, you ain't got to be here if you don't want to be here. I can make another one of you, And I did tell him that. I did. And I get it. And so, but this is the funny thing. We talk often. We talk almost every other day. And we have a great relationship. He's been in the Air Force 10 years. My other son, I lost contact with him for several years until about 5 or 6. And gratefully, I was at a Koji conference in Houston, Texas. And a bishop knew my situation. And it just so happened we connected. And he said, hey, man, call this person. I think they can get in contact with. And made contact. And we've been in contact ever since. And my youngest son, Isaiah, he's been in the Navy a little over 4 years now. So they're doing good. And I love it. I love it.
That's a blessing. That is a blessing. You did say that you had time. You one of your sons you met later in life.
Yeah, well, when he was one, I went there when he was born, it was his birthday, all that stuff. But his mom is from Belize, Central America. So world trip, missions trip. We'll talk about that later. But
no, we want to know now.
we still.
So his mom is from Central America. We met while we was in the military. And so when we had some turbulent, challenging moments, and when I moved to North Carolina, things did not go the way they want us to go. So we stopped talking. There was some anger and a lot of things that was happening. We stopped talking, and I lost contact. I went, I think, for his 3rd or 4th birthday, and that was it. And probably for about maybe 2-3 years, I did not know where he was at. And I was praying, oh, bless his name. I was praying and asking because I knew I wanted to be in his life. And regardless of how me and the mom felt, I knew I wanted to be in his life. And I kid you not, in Houston, Texas, we was at a Kojic AIM convention. And one of my former bishop, he saw me, we chatted. He said, how's Isaiah doing? I said, Bishop, I haven't talked to Isaiah in a couple of years. I don't even know where he's at. And he said, I make him get you in contact with his grandmother. Call this person, blah, blah, blah. And it worked out. I called the number. They got in contact. And it took some time. I had to go down to Georgia, kind of build that relationship over again. And literally, I'm not going to full detail, but I'm just going to say this particular son, he's older now, grown. He blessed me and paid for my dinner at Capitol Grill on Sunday. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Wow. That's wonderful.
So,
that's wonderful. I appreciate you saying that you pushed through to be in your son's life, because there are some people who experience a high degree of of bitterness and insecurity because their fathers do not push to be in their lives and they don't know who they are. They lack identity. So to hear that you were pressing through to make sure you were in your boy's life, that's beautiful. Listen, can we give Pastor some virtual hand claps because that's the stand-up dad for real.
Hey, Janet, let me just show you. I'm holding back tears. Y'all don't understand because that was not just Isaiah, but Cedric for a minute. My oldest son. Now we talk often. We had a different relationship. His mom moved to Atlanta. And we wasn't seeing eye to eye. And at the time, I was working for Daniel's Tours. I think Tanisha knows Ron and I was working for Daniel's Tours, and we had a contract to pick up at the airport in Atlanta and take basic trainings to Fort Jackson. Yeah. And Yaron particularly sent me to Atlanta side one particular time, and I said, "Man, I haven't seen my son Cedric in a while." And I had a 55 passenger bus. And I knew his address. We talked, whatever. I didn't tell him I was coming. I pulled up to an apartment complex with a 55 passenger bus. We talk about this to this day and we laugh. And I pulled up, walked up with a 55 passenger bus. And I said, "Hey," he said, "Dad," I said, "Hey, let's go to lunch. Let's get something to eat. Let's go hang out." And he joked me to this day because he said his friends was like, "Who is this man in our apartment?" Now I'm in Atlanta, like I'm in Lawrenceville, Georgia, outside of Atlanta with a 50. And I asked Ron before I said, "Let me go early before I pick up." And we went to Chick-fil-A. It wasn't far from we went to Chick-fil-A. And he even said, he said, "Dad, that meant a lot." He said, "It told me you really wanted to build something with me and be in my life." And even though we was tension. We did what we had to do. I like what one person, Makai, I think I can't say that, but that's what you call resilience. But that I have not missed both of their high school graduations. I went to it. I went to my son's boot camp graduation all the way in San Antonio. Only reason I didn't go to Isaiah's was because it was during COVID and they would not allow us to go. Yeah. But that was the only reason. I was preparing to go to Great Lakes. So this is something that I just believe in.
Oh, and it's a beautiful thing. You got me fighting back tears too. I'm like, oh my goodness. You know what I'm saying? You drove a whole Greyhound bus to see your son, but I mean, that's like the movies. You should write books that. But seriously, that's big. That is big.
Tanisha, I believe, and that's why I'm glad I'm on the show because I'm not just talking this. I can tell you some other story, but I don't want to take too much time. But I know the effects that being without a dad. The funny thing, I haven't talked to my dad in months. I wish him happy Father's Day. And we talked today. And he was saying, "Man, I'm praying for you," and this and that. And I'm gonna send him a seed off. I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. They call it a seed of forgiveness, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But I believe in that. I believe in that. So yes, I want to share that with y'all.
That's good. And that we definitely don't need to skirt by that because forgiveness. A lot of people are not healed because they haven't forgiven. So I don't want to skirt by that. And again, it's Men's Mental Health Month. And speaking of which, if you are just tuning in, welcome to Candid Conversations. We have with us today Pastor Cedric Thrash, who's not a stranger, and we welcome him back. And welcome you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, we're talking about the fact that, things that men go through is Men's Mental Health Month. Have you all heard about what's going on with R. Kelly?
No,
it's in the news now. This is what you call it, Jay, what the streets be saying. But what they have in these social media streets right now is that he tried to unalive himself in prison. Y'all, it's on the news. I read it. I saw it, and that's that just made me think about. I mean, I started, the grace and the mercy and my heart goes out to him. I know a lot of people like, oh, I don't listen to his music no more. And and every XYZ, and he did what he did, and we've all fallen short, right? We've all done things, but for him to be just seen it on the news 5 minutes ago, it really happened in real time. But for him to be experiencing that, my heart does go out to him. And then I heard that, right, even though he was right there, he checked out of the hospital. This is on the news. You have to go back and do this work, but he checked himself out against the doctor's orders. And that's after trying to unalive himself, So we really, those who know the word of prayer, we have to pray for him, not just him, but other people. They live in R. Kelly. Get right. Thank you. Because suicide is real, depression is real. And Cedric, I'd like for you to, kind of speak on that as far as being a man. Have you, and I'm not going to put your business in the street, but can you understand and relate to a man getting that low to where he wants to unalive himself?
Yeah, actually, several things. When you have a father in your life, a good father will teach you how to overcome obstacles.
Ooh, yes.
And let me just go here and please, I hope, y'all my sisters, I love y'all. Don't get offended by this. But most of the time, women want men to be men that have never been taught how to be a man.
You're exactly right.
So this is the thing. So when a man does something boyish, it's almost, I can't believe you. Before I tell women, check his history. Yes. Always check two things, right? Almost three. How he treats his mom, what's his relationship with his dad, and who is his pastor. I'm gonna say it again. What's his relationship with his mom? Was a dad in his life, and and who's his pastor? Because those people are just like something I want to read right quick. Miles Monroe has a book called The Fatherhood Principle. Okay, I don't think you can say it, but Dr. Miles Monroe, he says this: a nation can be sustained, nurtured, and protected only when men are fathers like the Heavenly Father. When men give identity, when men are protect their children, they will help them to overcome. I went through a lot because unfortunately my dad was not in my life consistently. My mom would give him a chance and just things wouldn't work out and things like that. You know how it is. My mom was a saint. She didn't believe in divorce, but they just did not work out the way they wanted to. And it affected me tremendously to the point I dealt with the spirit of rejection. Okay. And so when you deal with the spirit of rejection, you do whatever you can to feel accepted. But here's the thing: you sleep with women, you do you drink, whatever, you kind of do all those things to feel accepted. And then those things was triggering sinful moments. Those sinful moments was triggering anxiety and panic attacks and all the like. And guess what? Anxiety, me being in mental health, anxiety wears you down to the point you become depressed. You become depressed. You have those dark moments. You have those dark thoughts. I would not be surprised if R. Kelly just probably didn't have the best relationship with his dad. And, and his dad taught him how to overcome the obstacle. There's a quote that says, some men are, I'm going to have to get it, so I don't want to misquote it, but it talks about some men would rather die than to live through pain. And you're going to get that in 2 weeks. Some men would rather die than to live through pain and to be trained. We as a culture, Janet, we have not been taught how to live through pain as men. We have this, what we call escapism. We want to escape pain. We want to escape development. And here's the other thing for R. Kelly. We want to escape, we want to escape what they call the consequences of our actions.
That's it.
Right.
We don't want to face the music. When you do the research on why they call it face the music, they don't want to face the music. They don't want to face the reality of what they've been doing. It comes with conviction. So being a father, I'll say this real quick, being a father and being in the life of your children, it affects them positive, and it can also affect negative. I don't know how y'all relationships with y'all father have done, but if you have, I know it has affected me in the lack of being in a relationship with my father.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
some would rather die.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I think. Again, R. Kelly is a man. I'm not a man, I'm making a broad statement, and certainly not from the perspective of a man. But R. Kelly is a man who I don't believe had a father in the home. I think in one of his documentaries, he talked allegedly about there being some abuse
Yeah.
in his past.
Okay.
And you know, when those things happen during your formative years, that shapes, you know, your worldview on things. And so, and then you take someone who is illiterate by his own admission, meaning he cannot read, but he's a talented artist, you know, can write music, you know, but can't read. And then you throw them into a world of fame, which they say is a, you know what, of a drug, you know, nobody is telling you no. And all of a sudden they knock the ladder from underneath your feet by your own doing, and you can't face those consequences. So it is very unfortunate that no matter what happened, whether he tried to unalive himself or, you know, according to earlier reports, he felt like somebody was trying to unalive him, because I read that as well. Whatever it is, he would rather die than face the pain, and that is tragic. And like someone said earlier in the comments, we need him to live so he can get it together and get right.
Now that's the truth.
And I'm saying real quick, we're not taught. Please hear me on this. And I'm not trying to be prophetic on the radio. I'm just talking.
Yes.
We live in a generation where we are not taught to live.
That's true.
And we're taught to give up. We're not taught how. It's almost like I tell people, we're taught to survive, not thrive. So everything is always just surviving. That gets old. That gets tiring. The Apostle Paul said, "This one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind me, and I press toward the mark." Every man has to forget, if he's had a fatherless childhood and don't have the right relationship with his father, he has to have a moment in time where he do with the Apostle Paul, man or female. He says you have to think about the one thing that makes you want to continue to live. You have to say this one every day when you get up. What is the one thing, oh bless his name, that make you want to live? What is the one thing that gives you joy? What is the one thing that keeps you fighting? When I wanted to give up, I kept thinking about, I got to make sure I'm here for my sons. I got Cedric, I got Isaiah, I got a family. I didn't grow up with a family. I didn't grow up where every Sunday we ate at the table or that dad was involved. But it's no excuse. Society will not excuse our trauma.
That's good.
It just won't do it. We can wallow in it, we can sit in it, but guess what? Society will not excuse our trauma. The only thing that society wants is they want results. They want production. They want performance. So I could say more. I just want to give balance time. So go ahead.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's real good, and we appreciate that, because what we do know is that some browner skinned people, males particularly, you all have different challenges. Your challenges are different, from what I'm told, than other male and of other races, and especially us women. So I'm big on my fellas. I'm telling you, because like even with Father's Day coming, you know, you see the crowd's not big in the restaurants, and you know, you all are, to me, so society has minimalized fatherhood, I think. And so what you're saying is good, is great. And I hope that someone who runs across this that may not even have a relationship with their father, you know, or is going back to what you were talking about earlier, forgiveness. So have you ever had Janet, you're gonna have to catch that one. If you can.
All right. Okay. Yeah, so right here, Dee writes, my son went through that with his dad. He reached out to him a week before Father's Day and asked how he was, and all he said was getting old. I didn't ask my son how he was or nothing. He's been a deadbeat my son's whole life, and my son is 25. My dad was his father figure, and my deceased ex-husband, and my son still feels his loss because he was a good stepdad in all aspects. But my son has grown up to be a better man than his dad, and we're all proud of him. It's his loss. Is his loss. So yeah.
Well, most, and this is the thing, it does affect, okay? Not having a dad, when let me tell y'all this story. When I went to basic training in the Army, the first night I had a goatee, you know, I was coming fresh off the block. and the drill sergeant said, listen, y'all need to, SHI shine and shave by 4:30 in the morning. Okay. Bottom line.
Right.
It's just this military. I don't want y'all to think I'm cousin.
Oh no, you good.
So I didn't know how to shave. I didn't know how to shave. My father didn't teach me how to shave. I didn't know how to shave. So I kid you not, we had a bunch of the sinks, about 7, 8 sinks. So I started looking, I was looking at the white boys, trying to figure out how to shave. And this is the thing, I shaved, man, 1 or 2 days later, man, I had a convention. I had a culture convention underneath my neck. I had all type of bumps and people, and it was terrible. I mean, when I tell you terrible, it was. and I'm talking about, I was walking around, and my drill sergeant was like, "What happened to you?" And I'm talking about, Tanisha, I had blood. I just messed. But hey, I was in line. I shaved. I did what I. But guess what? Even though I almost made my dad be in my life, so when I went back home, I said, "Hey, Dad, me and you got the same skin, right? How do you shave?" And he said, "Oh, I do this and I do that." And man, from that day forward, while I was in the military, because I could have easily got a shaving profile, which I should have, but I didn't. I was trying, it was old Vietnam guys in there, and they just, they was adamant about that. But what I'm saying is, I still asked my father, I said, "Man, how did you shave? How do you shave?" And he taught me how to shave. Guess what? I taught my son Cedric how to shave. And I said, "Man, do this and do that." You will be surprised, even though it may seem simple, it's something that helped me tremendously. And to this day, even though my dad was not always there, I shaved the way that he taught me how to shave as an 18-year-old kid. So that literally makes a difference. Okay. So I want to share that with y'all.
No, that was good. That was awesome. And I feel the same way about when I see little boys that can't tie a tie. I'm like, oh, so I with all of that, you know what I'm saying? I'll do it. My heart just goes out to them like, oh, they just need that father figure. So do you think it's more that we can do for community wise? You think it's more that the community can do? We got churches on every block, right? We're gonna get people good and saved in heaven. But what do you think can be done? Because oftentimes we talk about a problem, but we don't have a thing or have a solution to put one out there in the atmosphere for somebody.
Well, let me say this.
Yes, he did. Okay, go ahead.
What you say?
I said Norlisha said not the Koji convention. I said yes, he did. Norlisha did. Yes,
listen,
he did. Sorry,
it was so many bumps and bruises.
He's so crazy.
I laugh about that today because it came out of nowhere. I was like, man, what is all this underneath my skin? What is, it just, and I'm so used to being dapper and smooth in high school. I'm like, man, nobody gonna want to see me now.
Oh, you had to wear turtlenecks in the summertime. Thank you for that example, man of God.
You're welcome, Nadine. Let me just say this. I was going to mention it later on, but I want to say it now. Okay. When you said about the tie. So even though my father didn't teach me how to tie, my oldest brother, I often celebrate as a spiritual father, he taught me how to tie. Because I was just, even the military, they you either have a clip on, or you get somebody to do it. But he finally said, man, tie it this way. Because I was like, when I got to upper room, when I first got here and I joined upper room, all the guys wearing ties, they had the little dip in the little dimple, whatever they call it, in the little necktie. And I was like, okay, bougie.
Bougie. Right.
But I wanted that same look.
Yeah.
Tanisha, I wanted that same look. So, my brother Lamont, he said, man, just do it this way. And he was doing it so fast, like he was doing kung fu. I was like, whoa.
I need baby steps.
Hey, Tanisha, I said, my dad went in my life. I'm slow. Slow it down.
I ain't seen no man tie no tie before. I ain't seen that.
So, and the reason why I say that is, I wish more people would. I hope somebody shares this. Every man, every child, even daughters, get you a father figure in your life. Listen, Godfather, connect with somebody. I love the fact that some of the people at my church, they call me Uncle Pastor Cedric. That's the going name for like the last 20 years. It started with one of the youth that was young, and they will hear Junior and Jasmine them calling me uncle, and then she just said, "You the uncle and the pastor. You like Uncle Pastor Cedric." And next thing you know, she just started calling me Uncle Pastor. So that's the name that everybody, say Uncle Pastor Cedric. So, and the reason why I say that is get connected to somebody that is like a father figure that will catapult you and take you to the next level. So
that's good.
So Tanisha, we have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
And Letitia writes, I felt my dad was a deadbeat growing up, but when I began to work and build a relationship with him, I realized that he did not know how to be a dad. He was 18 in high school when I was born. Therefore, I gave him grace and rebuilt our relationship as an adult. Grateful that I did it years before he passed away, and just wanted to share. I think that is so good, right? Because
that right there. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes.
Tanisha, the backstory to that is Tisha, we was I never forget it. We was on the way from Myrtle Beach. Mm-hmm. And her dad owned property in New Bern, North Carolina, and it was off Highway 17. Yeah. And we was just talking. She said, "Yeah, my dad shop up the street." I said, "Hey, let's stop there." She said, "Oh no, I'm good." I said, "Teacher, let's," and we got to talking, and you know what? We stopped at the shop, and we began, and she talked to her dad, and after that, they just built a bond, not knowing, I don't know, teacher, I can't remember, but I think maybe 10 years later, her dad passed away. I'm not going to full detail, but he had a 1937 Buick that he left her that was worth something. Yeah. Left her. Yeah. But it was all because she rebuilt that relationship. And then so, for example, even though my dad was not in my life, and I told Tisha that we talked about this, the Bible says, honor your father and mother, that it may be well with you, may live long. The Bible never said honor them according to how they treat you.
That's right.
Janice got quiet right there. It got real quiet. I didn't lose somebody.
You definitely did, but yeah.
We treat our parents the way we feel about them based upon how they treat us.
Yeah.
And what I've learned to do is I told Tisha, you got to forgive your dad. I forgave my dad. My dad literally, so let me just get a quick backstory because my brother Lamont talks about this. We was in Detroit, Michigan. That's where we was all born, except for Lamont. My dad worked at General Motors. My mom worked at Chrysler, right? In the 70s, they had that big layoff. My dad was a part of the big layoff of the 70s. And when they laid off, it was a lot of turmoil, a lot of stress. And he just eventually, decided to leave. And when he left, it left our family, 6 kids, 5 of them his, and he left. But this is the thing, when I got older, you know me, I'm in counseling, I'm in behavioral health. I like to know what's really going to root. And what I found out, Tanisha and Janet, was my dad was just tired. Mm-hmm. Even my brother said to this day, he said, "Man, I think dad just needed a vacation," and they didn't push vacations back then. He said, "I think dad just needed a mental break." And he just was, because when men get tired, we'll crash out, and we crash out crazy. We leave everybody. We leave the mailman, the ice cream truck. We leave everything because men have crash outs. And he just couldn't. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes men are not taught to overcome, because I found out his dad was not in his life.
Wow.
See? That makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? So you have this trend. And the reason why I'm saying this is every man, every lady, you need to have a father figure in your life. If it's a godfather, a spiritual father, an old deacon, ain't got nothing to do. Make sure they're honorable, respectful to you, whatever. But I'm big on that. That's why I believe God is raising up spiritual fathers that are pastors. I believe that God is raising up pastors that would be, because Tanisha, y'all, we have a whole generation that has not been fathered.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true. Yeah, we got kids raising kids. I say that respectfully, but you got a group of people who are adult age who have not been parented. They've not been taught anything, having kids. And so we have a generation that does not honor life. They don't have any respect. They don't have any morals. They're just it's wild.
Yes.
Janet, when a father's in your life, I'm sorry, go ahead, Lady T.
No, go ahead, continue.
I was like, when a father's in your life, like case in point, I don't know if his mama listens. She probably gonna say something if I say something, but hey, he grown, we good.
He grown.
When my son came to live with me, he was 7 years old. He was on medicine to keep him focused.
Right.
I said, no, I'm your focus. I'm your medicine. That was my first, and I immediately took him off that medication. Because he was on medication. I want to say it was Adderall. I can't remember what it was.
One of them.
Yeah. And I said, no. This belt and this discipline, I'm your medicine. Take me every day and you'll stay focused in class. Now this is the thing.
As directed.
The whole time he stayed with me and Tisha, he stayed on the honor roll. No medication. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Never was on medication.
Cedric. See, but what I'm saying, that I get it, but you could have been. You saying it. I know you saying it flamboyant. I mean, in a way, you are his medicine, but you really are his medicine. You could have been the problem. He didn't have you in his life, and he might have been acting out because of that. We can take it that way, or we can take it that it is important, ladies, to have that male in that young man's life. You know what I'm saying? Because we need both. We need both. He needs you. You need him. And it surprises me because when I was feeling your heart when you was talking about how you could, and I know I'm dropping my subject, but you couldn't with Isaiah and with Cedric. When you missed them, you felt that like in your heart. I don't understand how some men could just be so dismissive, leave their children, family, and not feel nothing. Yeah, they have to be feeling something because you went for your boys. I mean, you wanted your children, you got it. And that's why God is blessing you and them right now. But it's unbelievable that how men could just, because they drop seeds and keep moving a lot of times, and it's just unbelievable. But
let me just be straight up, Tanisha. It takes no effort to drop seed. It takes effort to raise seeds.
Yes.
Now you're gonna get that in 2 weeks.
I caught it right now.
I did too. I picked up what he was putting down immediately, and I get it. And you're correct. You're correct. Yeah, it is what it is.
And see, this is the thing. Even though me and his mom, their moms, they learned me. They learned, listen, I'm just a man. It is what it is. And this is the thing. I told them, I'm not your enemy. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to raise my son. My oldest son is married now. Cedric, his wife texted me on Father's Day and said, thank you for being influential in Cedric's life. And I told her, when I was raising Cedric, and he'll tell you, I was not raising him just to be a boy or man. I was raising him to be a husband and a wife. I said, my thing was, whoever y'all marry, y'all wife gonna thank me one day. She's the first wife to thank me. Because I wanted to raise a husband. I'm not raising just Cedric. I got to raise a husband. I got to raise a father.
Yes.
I'm not raising just Cedric. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. And you duplicate it because this is what we need. This is what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? And I know, and I don't take away from the women that were forced to raise those boys alone. You can't take anything from them at all. Power to the people. But for it to, if you know that you know, why would you go out tomorrow and start sleeping with somebody knowing that guy wouldn't probably stay in your life, and here you are stuck to raise a child alone again? We do that so much, and because you mentioned the stats at the beginning of the show. So to your point, yes, that's what I'm talking about. It just bothers me that every man doesn't think like you when it comes to
it takes a lot of effort to be a father.
Yeah.
Do y'all understand that some of these kids is bad? I'm just be straight up. Some of these kids is off.
It's not for the weak. Well, even parenting is not for the weak.
Some of the church children tried to beat me up in the bathroom a couple weeks ago. No, I'm just
anyway.
I triggered them. I was in there messing with them. They was in there doing children's church, taking a bathroom break, and I went and I didn't know they all went together and We got you, Pastor Cedric. I'm like, whoa.
Well, listen, you know I'm a children's church teacher, so in their defense,
get in there, girl. Get in there. I'm like, he had to do something, Jay.
They was representing.
Yeah.
Oh, Janet, and all their parents was leaders, so they were strong. They came
strong.
at me. But I've seen being in mobile crisis. One of I can talk about cases. I can't mention names, but I went to a lady house, and literally she the kid was wanting to commit suicide because she changed the Wi-Fi password and would not give it to him, and so he locked himself in the bathroom and said he wanted to kill himself. I went to the house. I'm like, hey man, come on now. I'm trying to. You know what he did? He let the dog out on me. Literally had a dog because I told him to lock the dog up when I get there. I'm not coming to the house. Your dog, because who your friend may not be my friend. That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? So he let the dog out. No, listen, she understands. She worked with mobile crisis with, and he the dog. But me, I'm like, I'll choke your dog, man. Listen, it'd be 2 ambulances out here. You and the dog. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't playing that. And the dog looked at me, and I looked at the dog. What R. Kelly said, she looked at me, and I looked at me. I looked at her. Lisa, you caught it real quick. But
who was R. Kelly saying?
Put that dog in the closet. Put that dog in the closet. Sorry. Okay, tell your story. Right. Tell your story.
Y'all not right. But and the dog looked at me, and I looked at the dog, and I said, "Let's go," because I thought he was gonna come at me. So, but he ran around the house, and the mom let the dog out and everything. But we went to the house, and the son was running around acting up because the mother, he was acting out of school, and the mother would not give the Wi-Fi password to him, and he wanted to get on the Wi-Fi. And I'm talking about, I'm looking, I ain't gonna lie, I was on that call like, man, I'll turn you upside down. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, but the calls I went on, I said a lot of times there was no authority figure there. Now I know we live in a generation where the woman said, I don't need no man, I can do it by myself. And that's fine. Saying. But guess what? It will help. When people say, well, we don't need no music, we got the Holy Ghost. We don't need. I said, but the music helps though.
It helps.
It does.
Come on, Johnny. What you say? It does.
It does.
It put it like this. You may not feel like you need a father and you can do it on your own. That's fine. My mom was a single parent. I believe unfortunately, she passed at 47. We believe because the stress and the load, because she loved us. She raised. It was 4 boys, and we was. I can't say that, but we was ninjas.
Okay.
We was straight ninjas. When I tell you, we would eat all the spaghetti. We was ninjas. But guess what? My mom did the best she could with what she got, what she had. So I'm not against the single parent, but I'm being honest with you. It would have helped if a father figure was in our life. So I just want to share that with y'all.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. We've talked today about, in particular, about boys being able to have that male influence and be raised by men. But as women, we need our fathers in our lives because our dads give us identity. If we can see, how we're supposed to be treated, and our father is that template to say you don't have to suffer certain things, because you've got some women going back to what you said earlier about that spirit of rejection because dad wasn't there or he was out of place. Maybe he was there, but out of place. They feel like they have to suffer with, being in, though it's not a single parent home, it's a broken home because y'all have the family, but nobody's married. Or women who feel like I have to stay with this man, even though he's abusive to me, whether it's physically or financially, because I have these kids, because dad isn't there. And it's something to be said about when dad is present, because certain things don't go down when dad is present.
Right.
Well, and Jen, let me just go ahead. Now I'm going to go ahead and y'all can send me to the lake of fire if y'all want to. But I thought about it for years. I'm telling you, this honest God truth. the way my mom worked, and there would be nobody at the house, I got in sin. I was funnel caking because there was no parent in the home. But I thought about it, I said, man, because I remember my dad did stay with us for a little bit, like a year, but things didn't work out. Man, we couldn't do nothing because their work schedules. And so you couldn't sneak nobody in. But, if mama's at work from 7 to 5 or whatever, or she working a second, job or whatever, she would sometimes work second job. Guess what? I'm going to sneak Tata Delicious in the back door. And see, Janet, see?
I caught that. I know who Delicious is. And you know what? She from Detroit, too. You didn't think I knew that, did you?
Tata.
Got him.
That's so crazy.
But this is the thing, Janet. Look, this is the thing. When a father is in the home,
yes,
I got to bring this up. I hope Pastor Obama said. Well, he said it on camera before. His daughter Jasmine said she wanted to go to school to be something. He said, "Listen, not with my money." And she wanted to go to New York. And he, as a father, I never forget it. I said, "Man, I wish I had somebody in my life back then that did what you did for Jasmine." Because what he did was he corrected her thinking and put her on a better path. And to this day, she has I think it's electrical or mechanical or something. She's an engineer. Now she was gonna go to some school in New York, and he said basically over my dead body. And I was in the kitchen. It was a tough conversation. I mean, when it was tough, I remember it like it was yesterday. But him being a father, he said, no. You go get your bachelor's degree first. And if you want to become a clown at the circus, after you get your bachelor's degree, you can do whatever you want. But I am not financing that. And today, Jasmine has a bachelor from North Carolina State in engineering, a black lady. Come on, somebody.
Come on. I wish I had my hand claps. Y'all put some, like Janet said, put some claps in the comments for that, y'all.
Nadine, I got to tell it because it's an example of good fathering. And Jasmine is doing well. She went, got a scholarship with Toyota. The girl is doing, and listen what I'm saying. He set her on a path to success. Now, it was a tough conversation. I'd never forget it. We was all there at the table. I think Alicia was there, Tisha was, and boy, everybody was like, Pastor, you let her go to New York. He said, nope. No, you know how Pastor is. But to this day, she's doing well, making good money. And what I'm saying is, God allows good fathers to see the future. God allows good fathers, even though you may not agree with it. But come on, how many of y'all in the comment section can say you had a father in your life, how advanced and further along you would be?
Yeah.
So I got to say this. I know our time is getting away. Every person on here, you got to get with the father figure. If it's a pastor. Now, this is my pastor, so I got to say this. If your pastor's too busy to father you, you need to find somebody in that church. I would say leave, but I'm not going to say that. But you need to find somebody in that church, if you love that church, that will help you. God has put identity in the father where he can share the identity. He can correct you. You watch this, Tanisha and Jenny. Y'all know when the dad come home, you ain't getting over on dad like you would give him. And I'm talking about real dads. I ain't talking about these funny stuff. But real dads. You not getting over on a dad. Bottom line.
Right.
Everybody needs somebody in their life. That's why I don't know if y'all know. Me and Tisha got like 6 god kids. 6, 7,
that's
probably
awesome.
8. But this is the thing that they said. And I told them, I said, I don't want all these god kids, and we because I want to be an effective God parent. And I think the last 2 said, they said, Pastor, you don't, even if you're not always there or whatever, they said, this is the thing. We just want to know, oh, bless his name. Thank you, Jesus. They said, if anything happened to me and my wife, that we know that our son, our daughter is going to be in good hands, that they will always have a home to go to. And I got two, 3 guys. My godson Joshua, Tanisha, y'all know him, Jeremy Walker's and Sean Walker.
Yeah.
Josh, that's my. He think that I said Sean birthed him, but Tisha is his mom. This is other mom. And our other guy's daughter, she comes. What I'm saying is, they understand the value. Man, we don't even really have godparents like we used to. In the way godfathers and there's nothing that Joshua don't, if he calls and say, God, Daddy, can I, or my other godsons, my Taylor, and we got some twins and different, they already know they get what they want. But they just wanted to know to say, if something ever happens to us, we know our kids don't have nothing to worry about. We have to go back to where are the fathers, where are the godfathers will make sure that the community stays good and positive when something happens. We got to go back to that. I'm sorry, I'm taking too much time.
No, that's good. That is really good. We have so many comments. I couldn't even keep up with all your comments, but we do see them. Julia Douglas.
Julia said, just be there when they need you. That's when I was at my oldest son graduation, I was joking. I was like, Cedric, and so we was. But when I called his name, man, I could see he started laughing and we pointed at each other. Man, he don't know. That blessed my heart.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm because we have to, and there are times, and I have to say this. God knows I'm trying not to talk too much, but I gotta say this to y'all. I wanted to give up. I want to tell y'all a story. I'm gonna tell y'all offline. Can't tell y'all now because it involves Apostle Paul and Silas ministry. Y'all gonna get that later on. But me and Cedric had an issue in the school call and all that stuff. And we just went through a time. And I wanted to give up so bad. I said, man, listen, me and his mom weren't getting along. Me and Cedric joke, I'm the Republican and she's the devil. We just joke like that. And I said, man, I wanted to give up as a father. Mm-hmm. And my brother, Lamont Cooper, he said, Cedric, whatever you do, don't give up. He said, now, you can't have your boys like you want to, and I know you do. He said, but do what you can. Try to be there. I would drive 5 hours to outside of Savannah, Georgia, Hinesville, Georgia, when I started to get connected with my youngest son, Isaiah. I didn't miss his high school. And this is the other thing I meant to say. I didn't go to his basic training graduation, but the day that he was getting ready to ship off to go to basic training, me and Lady T got in the car and drove 5 hours just to go spend time with him before he left out to go. So even though there was challenging times I wanted to give up. But when my brother told me, he said, you just do the best that you can do and be the support that you can do. That is what changed my thinking. I said, he said, make sure you're there for their birthdays, make sure you're there for important days. Other stuff, you just can't make it. You do the best you can. And when he told me that is what really got me involved. And to this day, I love my boys. We text, we have good conversation. And my son, my youngest son, Isaiah, I'm gonna say this. He literally said, Dad, I don't want to come back up to North Carolina. This is when he was young. He said, I don't want to come back to North Carolina. I feel like you dictating your home or whatever. And I said, well, I paid a mortgage, and so I'm gonna dictate what happens in my home. Okay. I did tell him that. But this is the case. We joke, but that was years ago. And Jess, y'all see I'm like holding back tears. But just about 3 months ago, he said, Dad, now he's like 20 something now. He said, Dad, I haven't been in North Carolina in years. I want to come back and spend time with you. Oh, bless his name.
Wow. That's my God today.
Because he said, I want to come and spend time with, because he literally was like, I don't want to come back to North Carolina. And we were just having a moment years ago. I let him vent. I said, we sat down, never forget, we was at I think Longhorn in Hinesville, Georgia. I let him talk, but we built something from there. And we talked when he went to Japan. I sent him. He sent me some stuff all the way from Japan. He got it personalized for me. And so what I'm saying, I kept fighting and doing what I had to do. And he texted me. He said, Dad, I want to come and spend time with you and Miss Tisha in North Carolina. He said, "You always come to me. I want to come to you." So I want to encourage the dads out there. Oh, bless his name. Keep fighting. Keep fighting to be in their life, whatever you got to do. Keep fighting to be in the daughter's life. If you don't have any kids, find somebody to be a father to. Find somebody to connect with. If you don't have a father, I believe God will. He said, "I'll be a father to the fatherless," and I believe that God will allow people to come in our life to be fathers to us. So I want to just share that, which I know we getting slow. Our time is getting away.
That's why we always have to bring you back, because you're so full of information. You're so, and you're transparent, and you share, and we deal with real life situations because we're all human and we all fall short. So yes, that's why we have to have you back. That's why we thank you, audience, for staying tuned in the entire hour, because what you were dropping were definitely golden nuggets. And I tell you, we appreciate you, Cedric. Pastor said. So go ahead and check your book before you leave, so we can go ahead, when you tell us that story after the show, we can go ahead and get you in for the next one, because we didn't finish. We have to finish. But you definitely blessed us on today, ladies. It is important that your children have a relationship with the male, no matter what you are, a positive role model. He gave us great advice on how to make that happen, and how to, and consider finding some of these strong men, and know who they are, know get them on, do your due diligence, because everything carrying the Bible ain't, So get your son someone, and it may not be someone in your church. It may be somebody else that you have, a lot of respect for, but just get somebody, because these boys definitely need that. They need that male figure in their lives. So Cedric, thank you again for that. Jen, do you have anything else further to say?
I just love Pastor Cedric. I love your transparency, my brother, from another mother, the Heavenly Father being our Father. Because I don't know your daddy, and my mama don't know your daddy. But anyway, but I love Pastor Cedric and Lady T, Lady Thrash. I just wanted to reiterate what he said. Dads, fight to be in your children's lives. I'm not going to sit here and say that sometimes we just roll out the red carpet, and as women, we make it super easy. But if your children know that you are fighting to be in their life, that makes all the difference in the world, because nobody wants to feel abandoned and nobody wants to feel rejected. So, thank you for being transparent and compelling the men to really just, and by sharing your testimony, compelling the men to, be in their children's life. That was awesome.
That was
dads
awesome.
matter. Dads matter.
Dads matter, man. I say that all the time. And Letitia, Lady T 2.0, girl, you blessed me, because God blessed you, and because you got a reward, and that reward, even though it's a vehicle, whatever it was, your reward is that you reunited with your dad. You did that. You were intentional about doing that. So ladies or gentlemen, if you're not, have a relationship with your dad, be intentional about doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because once they're gone, they're gone. And Cedric, you raised your son to be an awesome husband, not just a man, but a husband too. And your greatest reward is what you're getting. You raised a man. So I commend both of you. I could thank you again. Happy Father's Day for all the fathers that tuned in late, who may be watching this on the replay. Y'all have a great evening. We gotta go. We love you too. And we gotta go. Check your calendar. Y'all stay tuned. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Next week.
See y'all.